Welcome back to Sun Valley Lanes in Lincoln, Nebraska. The afternoon session about to get underway. The Leigh Panthers taking on the Dodge Pirates. This morning we crowned 4 girls state champs. This afternoon it's the guys' turn. The Leigh Panthers and Dodge. Let's take a look at the Leigh Panthers. Here's their starting lineup, led by head coach Chris Kirk-Dwight. Ryan Kumpf is a senior. Reiniger is a sophomore. Drew Kozik, Dustin Marty, and Trevor Elgin round out the Leigh Panthers lineup. For the Dodge Pirates, Steve Cathell is the head coach. Brandon Byer is just a junior. Philip Cathell, their high average bowler. Taylor Ryan, Austin Widhelm, Dalton Hashberger, and Brian Benevarka. That's a look at the Dodge Pirates. Should be a good one. The Leigh Panthers taking on the Dodge Pirates for the Class D state championship. Good morning of action this morning, Steve, as we got 4 girls state champs, and now we're going to see a little more revs, a little more speed, a little more strikes as we progress through the afternoon with the guys.
We've got some teams that have been here before. Both Leigh and Dodge have been here either as state champions or as participants in the state finals. So a lot of these kids have been around a little bit, and they are, familiar with this environment. So both come from bowling centers that have great proprietors that are strong supporters of high school bowling. And you're right, we're going to see a little more power now. We're going to see some of these big boys that play football and other sports. We're going to see them start to muscle it up here. So here we go. We're out of the gates fast, Larry.
Here's Philip Cathell, the Dodge Pirates, right up the boards. Just so you can differentiate between the two, the Dodge Pirates have the white sleeve, the Leigh Panthers with the black sleeve. Unfortunately, in bowling, there are no home and away jerseys.
Yeah, they did us broadcasters a favor today, so that's true. No road alternate Sunday uniforms like they have in the NFL. Oh, hey, gets a wall shot.
Ryan Kumpf trips that 5-pin forward, and out quickly are the Leigh Panthers. We inadvertently switch the names up. We apologize in advance.
They're very, very similar shirts. So, and the funny thing is the two schools are maybe 11 miles apart too. So, yeah, we're going to see some exciting bowling here with the boys match. We're going to see more revs, a little more hook, but we're going to take a little while to get their feet on the ground here as they're starting off on TV.
There's Justin Reiniger, and here for Dodge. Their second bowler, that'll be Brandon Bayer. Team leader, a 2-time state champion, 2-time Class D singles champion, and he got the 10 to fall off, and he's your state champ in singles this year. Nice roll there.
High game at 268, 683 high series. He's just a junior too, so another year of seasoning, and he'll be even better next year. Down the middle at the 1-2-4, and you're seeing a lot of conditioner in the center of the lane. Going to have to go right at those spares that are right down the middle.
Sometimes you get a little fired up too. Here's Austin Widhelm for Dodge. And he trips that 3-pin forward. Big double for the Dodge Pirates.
A lot of break there.
Here's the Leigh Panthers. Trevor Elgin. Trevor leaves the 1-3-8.
It's a freshman, Larry. Young bowler, and it's going to take him a little time to settle down.
Dalton Hashberger. Hashberger tries to repeat the trick of getting that 3-pin forward, but coming out the double, it gives Dodge the early lead. The open by Leigh in the second frame compounds that to a 23-pin lead early for the Dodge Pirates. We saw earlier this morning the Dodge girls, in fact the first match of the day in Class D way back this morning. And we saw the girls finishing second to Alma. Now the guys have an opportunity here. Oh, misses a single pin. I mentioned it throughout the day, but spares so important in this Baker format.
This is Taylor Ryan for Leigh. He's the team comedian, Larry. That's what we're told.
Got the 5-pin. So back on the left-hand lane for the Dodge Pirates, Phil Cathell.
Phil is a strapping young man. He's got good size. I guarantee you he plays other sports too. And high game of 247 and 620 down the middle of the 5-pin. Gotta those easy ones in the middle, Larry. You've got to. You can't let opportunities slide away here. So Justin needs to just go right down the middle, just as he would throw a strike shot at the 5. Very well covered.
Great cover by the very calm and cool Philip Cathell. Looks like he's been here before. And they have. Defending Class D state champion Dodge Pirates, trying to make it back-to-back titles. As Brooklyn leaves the 6-pin. For the Leigh Panthers, here's Justin Reiniger. Now, after 5 frames, these two teams will switch lanes, as you've seen throughout the day in Baker format. You bowl 5 frames on one lane, and then you switch. So here for the Leigh Panthers, Ryan Kumpf. He was here as a freshman in 2007. He's a senior this year and picks it up. So good shot there by the Leigh Panthers to finish out the 5th. You see 77-53, a 24-pin lead. Let's take a look at the Class D singles, and you'll see that Brandon Bayer of Dodge ended up winning the singles title. Sacker from Humphrey St. Francis was 2nd. Reiniger, who we're seeing here today for Leigh, a couple of Newman Grove bowlers in 4th and 5th. The singles competition happens yesterday, the day before the state finals. And there's a look at the rest of the top 10. So a few Humphrey St. Francis bowlers in there, as well as Philip Cathell from Dodge, shot a 457.
We've got some legendary Class D schools that are noted for great sports. You got Humphrey St. Francis, Howells. You know, you've got a lot of great tight-knit schools in those areas there, Larry, that produce great athletes in all sports, and we're proud to have bowling be a part of that. Cross lane at the 4, a lot of conditioner on the lane, so you need to go straight at it, almost hooking by, but covers the spare. Now we're going to go cross lane at the 6, a little easier for a right-hander. You'll just move your feet to the left of the lane and try and go straight as you can, right at the 6-pin, right in its face, and very well done.
It's a nice conversion there by Brandon Bayer. Bayer with a 541 ended up, as you saw a second ago, winning the singles title. Doesn't quite get all the way back for Trevor Elgin. Now up on the right-hand lane. Austin Woodhelm for the Dodge Pirates. Austin crosses over, trips the 6-pin, and gets a strike for the Pirates.
Stoic look. He's like, no big deal. Knew he had it all the time. So now we'll see if this freshman for Leigh can come back. This is Trevor Elgin says his brother is his inspiration. Older brother's a football player, and he just wants to perform as well as his brother. And you know, Trevor throwing a reactive ball there, just hooked a little bit on the end there. You just got to go a little harder, a little straighter at those spares, Larry.
That's a tough lead. The 1-5 by Hashberger, Dalton Hashberger, the junior. Now up on the left-hand lane for the Leigh Panthers. Drew Kozik. Kozik is a freshman as well. And Kozik gets that 7-pin out of there, has the 6-10 to deal with. So now a tough spare conversion here by Dalton Hashberger. Right down the middle, and a great job.
That's
nice
big.
cover.
That's big. Keeps them out in front by about 40. Leigh's got to answer with a spare here to have any chance.
And a good cover. And with 2 frames left and down by, as you mentioned, nearly 40. It's a long road back, at least here in game 1 for Leigh. And the strike by the Dodge Pirates, and that's their leader, the junior, averaging 184, Philip Cathell. Cathell with the strike in the 9th.
Leigh to have any chance of taking this first game 1, they're going to have to throw strikes from here on out and hope that Dodge opens here in the 9th and the 10th, or actually the 10th frame. But right now, Larry, it looks like it's pretty much a done deal that Dodge is going to end up with the first game victory here.
Good shot, buried it. Brandon Bayer with the big strike, and back-to-back strikes now for Dodge. They've got a double on the board, and that will wrap up game number 1 for the Pirates. Cross alley, slides by. So Leigh opens in the 9th frame, 124 through 9. Dodge is going to put up an impressive first game score here. They're going to be well over 200.
Brandon's got a low maintenance game right down the track area of the lane. He was a little bit left of his mark there where the heavier amount of conditioner is in the center of the lane. That's why the ball did not get all the way back to the 1-3 pocket. But he's got a low maintenance game, Larry. He still hooks the ball a little bit, but he keeps the ball in play around the head pin. We're used to seeing on television with the Pro Tour, we're used to seeing the massive amounts of hooks, and you know, later on today, we're going to see even more of that as we get into the Class B and Class A boys finals. But, you know, Billy Whaley, and this is going way back before you were born, as I'm much older than you, but Billy Whaley, who started the PBA Tour with Chris Schenkel back in the 60s and 70s, always said, you know, straight is great. And, you know, a lot of times the big hook can get you in trouble, but spares and keeping the ball in play. But Dodge with a 205. That's a great Baker score. Having all of your players click at once, shoot 200, that's pretty good.
So there you see the final, 205-133, a big first game victory by the Dodge Pirates, who are looking for back-to-back state championships. Steve Cathell, the head coach of Dodge, excited about this team. You know, I want to remind you, if you're interested in helping the effort to recognize high school bowling as a sanctioned varsity sport in Nebraska, you can log on to NHSBF.com, contact your school's athletic director, and let them know how important high school bowling is to you. A total of 20 sports across the nation are
20 states.
20 states sanctioned. Did I say sports? Yeah, 20 states.
We knew what you meant.
Thank you. Sanctioned high school bowling.
Iowa's just within the last couple of years brought it into its portfolio of sports for their 2 athletic unions over there, and it continues to grow. And it's just you know, it's just a great, you know, low maintenance, low cost sport for schools, and it involves so many more kids that don't play other sports. Now, in the smaller classes like C and D, you see here in Nebraska, most high schools of that size, you have to have players that don't play other sports. But later on today, in the Class A and B games or matches, we'll see a lot of these kids aren't playing other sports. So it's a great thing for the kids to keep them active.
Good spare there by Ryan Kumpf on the left-hand lane, and the crossover Brooklyn by Brandon Bayer gives Dodge a double. So first 2 frames, Dodge out quickly just as they finished the last game. Left-hand lane now for Leigh. Here's Justin Reiniger. Reiniger, the sophomore, averaging 174, comes in a little light.
Now what I would do there, if I was Justin, is I would just move my feet a couple of boards to the right on the approach, cut down to that angle going away from the head pin, having a tough time getting the ball to the back. Wow, Dodge coming out fast.
3 in a row. First turkey of the match for the Pirates.
And we seen this yesterday, Larry, in some of the qualifying matches. When you see a school or a team get out with a big double, something like that, you get the crowd going behind you. Well, it can really mentally affect the other team. You know, you were coaching your Pius Thunderbolts yesterday, and you know, when you're bowling head-to-head, the team gets a double and the crowd's going bonkers behind them. You know, I mean, it can affect your team's emotions.
Especially this Baker format, emotions and being excited and up are so important, because not only are you getting your team excited and ready to go, but the other team takes notice of what's going on as well. Slides by on the right there. So here's Hashberger to try to convert the spare. Keep it clean for, just slides by.
Got to hit the 1-2 there in the face instead of on the right side of the head pin. So now Dodge can, or excuse me, Leigh can begin to creep back in this. But this is a tough spare. This is the 1, 2, 7, 8, 9. In bowling, we would call it a big design. And
you gotta have pretty big designs to get it too.
Yeah, it's
so 1 off there makes it a big lead, almost 40-pin lead for Dodge, and we're only through 4 frames, and another strike in the 5th for Dodge. A good shot by Philip Cathell.
You ought to call him the Iceman. He's had the same expression on his face since he's walked into the arena this morning. Get too excited. That was a good shot there by Drew Kozik. Put the ball right in the pocket. Just a bad break. Left the 10-pin.
There you see the score. Through 3, they were down by 37 pins.
Larry, a couple of the kids on the Leigh team. I mean, this is a very young Leigh team. You've got 1 senior, and you've got the rest are sophomore and freshmen, very, very young. And Jim Lund, the proprietor at the Leigh Bowl, is their proprietor there that takes care of the team. And a couple of these kids are in their first year of bowling, so they're getting the learning curve quick here. Now we'll get Ryan Kumpf up here on number 27.
So the last shot for Leigh before they switch sides, and he crosses over and gets the strike. So trying to hang around there on the shot by Ryan Kumpf. Well, the two teams will switch sides, and we want to remind you, you can preserve these great championship memories forever with a DVD copy of the Nebraska High School Bowling Federation Championships. For a copy of the NHSBF Championships, please log on to our website at nhsbf.com. Follow the links and get your copy of either the boys or girls state championships. Preserve the state high school championship memories for a lifetime. Big shot by the Leigh Panthers. Rustin Reiniger putting together the double. Now here's Brandon Bear for Dodge. Crossover. Leaves the 6-pin. Dodge still with the lead, but Leigh making a run. Trevor, Dustin Marty here. Dustin Marty right up the boards.
When you get back into the point of the match here where spares are going to be very, very, very important. You've got Dodge here trying to fight Leigh off as Leigh is beginning to make a little bit of a comeback. Cross lane at the 6-pin. Well done. Cross lane just cuts down the hook. Now the 1, 2, 5, 8, 9 is going to be a different approach here for Dustin Marty. He needs to hit that head pin as square as he can. As you said, a couple of these kids are in their first year of bowling, so learning on the fly here, Larry.
Up on the left-hand lane. Austin Widhelm for the Dodge Pirates. And now for the Leigh Panthers. Here's Drew Kozik. Another one of those freshmen. Kind of that inside line, crosses over and got the strike.
It's got to help. It'll make his nerves a little more settled when he's back up there the next time. 5-pin here now, cross lane. Or, excuse me, I'm sorry, that's the 9-pin cross lane.
And a nice spare conversion by Dodge, and they hang on to that lead.
Leigh can be right back in within a couple of pins of the double here, Larry.
Big shot by Ryan Kumpf. Just tugged a little bit and leaves that right side.
Watching Ryan lets go of the ball, he kind of pulls up on it, we call it, kind of bends the elbow and lifts up on the ball, and that'll, especially with these reactive balls, Larry, it'll cause that ball to have early hook. A lot of times you're just taught to let the ball fall off your hand and go into the lane, and that's what needs to happen. He's going to want to throw a strike approach, strike shot here at this at the 1, 3, 6, and 10. That's exactly what he did. Oh, just a bad break.
Much better release there, too, by Ryan. So up on the right-hand lane for the Pirates, here's Brandon Budvarka. Budvarka just misses the spare conversion.
Substitution there, Larry, for Dodge. Baker Bowling, you can substitute in.
Still a 24-pin lead, as you see there in the 8th frame by Dodge. 149-125. Leigh had opened in the 9th. Now here's Leigh's 10th frame. A little high there by Justin Reiniger. Here's Philip Catherine, crosses over, leaves the 5-pin, gets that 10 out of there. Nice cover there by Reiniger. Boys made it here. The Leigh Panther boys made it here in state back in 2007. Lost to Humphrey St. Francis that year. Humphrey St. Francis, 3-1. Match well in control by Dodge. The best Leigh can have is 154. Dodge already with 159. So game number 2 will also be Dodge. That crosses over in the strike for the Leigh Panthers. So hopefully the Panthers can get something going and give Dodge a run here in game number 3, because Dodge with a commanding now 2-0 lead. Aaron tugs on that one a little bit, leaves 2:54 left. A little bit of work there, but they will win this game. Dodge, as we mentioned, won the state championship last year. A player ruled ineligible earlier this year, and players, talking with Coach Cathell, says they went from wondering how they were going to get back here to believing that they could get back here, believing they could win it. And a nice conversion there by Bayer. Dodge has won a district championship 3 times, and now going for back-to-back state championships. They were 6-1 in district play this year. And within their district, they had the high series and the high game as a team. 727, 1393. They'll win this one 182 to 154. So the first game they won by 72. That game by 28, 38. 28.
Well, Coach Chris Kirptwight's got his Leigh Panthers gathered around down there in the set tee area, Larry, and he's just got to tell them just relax, have a little fun, and just pick up those spares. Don't give points away or pins away to the other team, but Dodge right out of the gate fast, almost with a strike, leaves the 5.
Philip Cathell wasting no time at all. And here goes Leigh. Here's Ryan Kumpf. Senior averaging 157 on the year. As we mentioned, he was here back in 2007, the last time they were here. Starts off with a strike in game number 3.
That's what you want to do, come out fast. He's got a hook, and just enough.
It's a nice shot there by Cathell. Reiniger up on the right-hand lane.
A double here would get into the backs of the minds of the Dodge Pirates, but now the 2-4-5, we're going to see a combination here that can be missed a number of different ways. See if Dodge can answer.
A little high, leaves the 10 pin. I think what you've seen too, Steve, with on the right-hand lane with Justin Reiniger of Leigh is his last couple of shots just haven't quite made it back, and maybe a move outside would be helpful.
Yeah, we got to get out to the corner of the lane where closer to the edge of the lane where there's a little more dry boards for the ball to hook back, but still having problems with going cross lane at some of the spares here. Sun Valley lanes with the lanes conditioned with more oil in the center, less on the outside. Sometimes going through the heavier oil towards an edge, Larry, is can really make spare shooting, especially spare shooting, difficult. Leigh now to keep that lead.
Here's Dustin Marty, the sophomore. Hang on.
Just a tough break there, leaving 1-3-6, and then you get the 8 in the back row to make things really tough along the 10 pin. It's like a chess match almost. You know, you just you're watching moves and just little moves. You know, neither team seems to want to pull away and take control. This is the 1, 3, 6, 8, 10, and that was a good effort, but that extra pin back in the back row just makes it tough. So another set of back-to-back opens, Larry, for Leigh.
Here's Austin Wilhelm, and just slides by. A little bit of an opening there for Leigh. Leigh started out with that strike, but then back-to-back opens. They're down 10 through 3. Kozik there. Here's Brian Varka. Varka for Dodge. Here's Kozik back up to see if he can convert that 6-10.
Cross lane, moving the feet all the way to the left, and cross lane at the spare. That's textbook.
A great conversion there by Leigh. Dodge needs to keep pace and just slides it by. Well, that'll tighten things up here through 4. In fact, Leigh has regained that lead. Ryan Kumpf. Straight up the boards. Got it. Great shot by Kumpf. 5-pin lead for the Panthers.
He's pumping his arms, getting his teammates fired up.
Cathell tugs it a little bit. Goes Brooklyn's side when the ball goes on the opposite pocket. In right-hander's case, that would be the 1-2 pocket as opposed to the 1-3.
5 and the 9 here, especially with a right-handed bowler. You can chop this. By a chop, we call that when you pick just the 5 off the 9, but go over, went a little straighter at it. Good spare.
So he picks it up. Leigh back out in front, as you see there, by 5, both teams with a mark. I want to remind you there's still plenty of time to pick up your state high school bowling championship apparel. Shirts, sweatshirts, bowling towels, bag tags, you can get them all at NHSBF.com. It's your one-stop shop. Check it out today. Once again, NHSBF.com. Crossover and leaves the 6-pin. There's the Leigh Panthers. Brandon Bayer.
Unique approach at the spare there for the Leigh Panthers. Justin Reininger, when he goes at his cross lane spares, Larry, he changes fingers. He puts his ring finger and his pinky finger into the ball, and well, that's obviously to cut down on the hook and the rotation to kill the ball so it doesn't hook past and maybe a little easier control. It takes a little practice to do that, though. I see a lot of pros either do that, take a finger out, or some pros, some of them are even don't even use fingers in the ball now. They just use their thumb to go across lane. Reactive bowling balls are so apt to hook so hard. It's just all a way to control it.
Little high in the 4-pin for Widhelm. 6-pin lead for the Leigh Panthers. Dodge on top 2 games to none in this best-of-5 Baker format. Of course, Baker format in Class C and D means 4 bowlers bowling in 10 frames, alternating each frame. So your first and second bowler will actually bowl 3 frames, where everybody else will bowl 2. So you're putting your best players in that first and second position. Good cover there by Widhelm.
A little different strategy. Usually in the Class B and A finals, where you'll see 5 bowlers, you want your best bowler in that fifth and 10th spot there in the game. Oh, trying to carry the wall shot there. Well, that's straight at him. Just a bad break there, leaving the 5 and the 7. You're at a point now.
Big shot here by Leigh. Great conversion. That'll give them a double-digit lead as we head into the 9th frame.
Spare here will tighten it up, though.
Yeah, it will. Just slides by that 5-pin, so 116 in the 8th for Dodge. Leigh with 113 plus whatever they get here. 13 and 10 is 23, a 5-pin lead for Leigh heading into the 10th and the all-important strike in the 9th.
Yep. Needs a strike here, and knew when he let go of the ball it's going to be left off of his hand for Philip Cathell. 247 high game, 620 series, high series for him, Larry. He's got the potential. He's got to really needs to pick the spare up for Dodge.
Big shot and buries it. The Leigh Panthers, Justin Reininger. And that about wraps up game number 2 for the Leigh Panthers. And especially after the open of the 8th and the 9th. So game number 3 will go to the way of the Leigh Panthers. Panthers bowling out of Leigh Bowl, Jim Lund, the proprietor. A little high, leaving 6-10, but it's going to be enough for Leigh to take game number 3. A possibility 171 if he gets 2, the best the the Dodge Panthers can do here in this game is, well, now 144.
Dodge Pirates just couldn't strike that game. No strikes at all that game. In game number 3, and of course he threw a few opens in there and had a double in there for Leigh, which helped them out. But still advantage Dodge, but Lee's back in it.
So 169 for the Leigh Panthers. Let's see if he can convert this 310. A little high and drives the 3 straight back. It doesn't quite catch the 10. So 169 to 133. A 36-pin win by the Leigh Panthers. But of course, the total pins, not what matters. It's whether you win the individual game. And Leigh takes the 3rd game. Dodge now leads it 2 games to 1 over the Leigh Panthers.
It's like match play in golf. Doesn't matter if you par the hole, bogey the hole, or what. You beat your opponent. That's how you keep scores. So
it's a best of 5 and Dodge on top. 2 games to 1.
Just don't think either team right now has a lot of confidence, Larry. So this still could go either way. It wouldn't shock me to see Leigh come back and tie this all up at 2 apiece. And this young man, Ryan Kumpf, came through with a couple of key strikes and
crosses over. Got it. That 9-pin kind of rolled around and finally fell straight backwards.
Firing up the team here. Let's see if Dodge can answer.
Here's Philip Cathell. Good shot. Great ball by Philip Cathell in a pressure situation. You want to answer that strike, and he does. Justin Reiniger. Reiniger was 2nd in the state singles competition. Making 3rd in the state singles competition. Shot a 487. That doesn't quite make it back.
Still struggling with the amount of conditioner on the lanes, Larry, in the middle. Got to stay direct at him. 1, 2, 4 in the 7. He's got to get the ball on the left side of the head pin. Ball takes out everything else. That's how to do it, just like that.
So Brandon Baer tries to answer the spare. Finish high, doesn't it? So it takes the 1-2 off of that 8-pin, leaves the 8 standing. So Leigh with the early lead here in game number 4. Dustin Marty, crossover, and Marty got the strike.
Great shot for a sophomore, brand new bowler. Gives it the fist pump.
Crosses over. That 3-pin's going to stand there. Not quite for Austin Whithelm. So now up on the left-hand lane, Drew Kozik, just a freshman. Following up the sophomore, Dustin Marty. The sophomore crosses over. It's a tough 5-6.
Need a spare here for Dodge. They've got to stop the bleeding here a little bit. They need a spare. 3-pin. Oh, he pulled it. Excuse me, that was the 8. That's the 3, but either way. Leigh can begin to pull away here. 5 and the 6 would throw this a whole lot different than you throw your strike ball, but
so an important shot here by Hashberger for Dodge. Leaves the 5-pin. Need that mark to close that gap. 22-pin lead through 3 frames by Leigh. Up quickly on the left-hand lane for Dodge. Excuse me, Leigh. Ryan Kumpf. Once again, just not getting that reaction they need. And the dryer boards are on the outside. Maybe a 2-and-2 move outside or a 3-and-2 move outside might create a little bit more back in for them.
the old adage is if you miss right, move right, miss left, move left. You're talking about your feet on the approach. And of course, we're talking about being a right-handed bowler here. So some of these guys that are coming up a little light on the pocket, by light meaning missing the head pin to the right, you keep your target on the lane the same, but you'd move your feet a couple boards to the right, as you said, Larry, and then that would increase the angle towards the pocket. But it's a lot of these kids have bowled a certain way all year. Have been used to a certain lane condition at most of the time throughout the year. So you get to the state championship. It'd be like in basketball. You wouldn't alter your free throw motion if you've done it the same all year. So just needs to get comfortable, and it's tough to do sometimes in a quick best 3 out of 5 match. But Dodge can sneak back in here with a nice spare. Shot at the 4-pin cross lanes. No, and what you saw happen there is the ball got out of that heavier condition. He got out of the heavier condition.
So there's your score through 5, 65 for Dodge. Leigh leading it with the strike. They would go to 88. I want to remind you, you can preserve these great championship memories forever with the DVD copy of the NHSBF championships. Log on to our website, NHSBF.com, and pick up memories that'll last you a lifetime. So get to our apparel and all the information you need about high school bowling in the state of Nebraska available at NHSBF.com.
Even get to see a smart-looking Larry Putney coach the Thunderbolts.
See how that goes. It's coming up immediately following this match between Dodge and Leigh. Right now, a 21-pin advantage for Leigh as they try to crawl back into this. They were down early, 2-0. Took game number 3 to make it 2-1, and now they lead here in game 4. And the last thing you want if you're Dodge is to open that door and allow somebody to come back from down 2-0 because momentum completely changes.
They're starting to get a little more consistent spare shooting out of the Leigh Panthers now.
You can see the confidence too.
Yes. Dodge, who, we're going to get the backdoor strike. No, Dodge, who came out and went 2-0 early, really struggling with the spares now. So let's see what happens here. Young man here, he struck last time up 2 in a row, would really get him fired up.
Dustin Marty leaves the bucket on the left-hand side.
2, 4, 5 in the 8. Larry, a million different ways to miss this and make it.
And a nice spare, big spare there by Widhelm for the Dodge Pirates.
Dustin needs to go right at this. He needs to try to get the ball to hit the 2 and the 5. Ball will carry out the 8 in the back.
Pretty good shot.
Oh, just that's really a good shot too. Another half aboard to the right. He converts that spare.
Just as you said, there are a lot of ways to miss that. Chopping it off the 5 is one of them.
Dodge still down. A strike there would have helped.
So down by 11 in the 7th frame. 111 to 100, Leigh on top.
Strike here by Drew Kozik. It's going to put a world of hurt on Dodge.
Kozik goes to the Brooklyn side, leaves the 6-pin. So Hashberger in a position for the Dodge Pirates where they really need to mark now.
Oh, you could just tell off his hand. You know, you can watch. It's hard to see at home because the action happens so fast in Baker bowling, but you saw his hand get on the side of the ball. The ball came off his hand and it immediately went left. He did the same thing there as Hashberger did for Dodge. Your thumb is almost like a steering wheel in the car. You need to get that thumb pointing towards your target and then rotate the fingers around it.
Crosses over. It is amazing, though, Steve, when you get late in games like this and it's tight, the pressure is a little bit elevated, and those kind of things.
Tend to squeeze the finger holes out of the ball sometimes, you know, when you get up there. But well, Leigh, by virtue of Dodge having some trouble with spares, is still going to go into the 10th frame in the lead, and there's another missed spare.
So Phil Cathell slides that by.
Larry, that is 3 single pin errors by Dodge in this game, and if they pick up 2 of those, they'll have the lead going in the 10th frame. So really a mark here in the 9th and a couple marks in the 10th, and Lee's going to tie it up, but another open frame.
Leigh keeps that door open. So they lead in the 9th, 129-115, 14-pin lead. A must-spare situation here for the Dodge Pirates. Now, stepping to the lane is Justin Reiniger, and Reiniger with a mark can shut out the Dodge Pirates.
Right. Striker spare here, and it's going to be even Steven. Oh, that tough spare. Is he going to get a little help? Nope.
So the 3-6-10 on the right side for Reiniger. So now Brandon Bayer must pick up this spare to keep his team in it. Got it. So good conversion there. 135, the best score he can have already a 136 for Leigh.
He's got it wrapped up. Yep. Just by virtue of all those single pin errors. So, you know, it's like in golf. I use a lot of golf analogies, but, you know, you got to be able to hit every club in your bag, and you can hit the ball a million miles, but if you can't putt, you know, it's going to be tough for you to score well. And bowling's the same way with spares. So we're going to go to 5.
So Dodge, after coming out of the gate with a 205 and 182, throws up back-to-back 133 and 132 games. That's really where you talk about the spares coming into play. As Leigh finishes up that game number 4, they shoot a 146. So 146, 132. And now all even at 2, and we go to a final 5th and deciding game. It's all even at 2 games apiece between the Panthers and the Pirates. And this now is for your state championship. And now this is where the pressure really gets ratcheted up, as well as the excitement.
Watch the kids on the Dodge bench. I think they're a little stunned that they had the big lead. Now they're back down, or they're back, you know, to an even match. So you got to pick up your spares.
You can definitely feel the momentum has shifted benches, and it's with the Leigh Panthers.
Ryan coming to the strike here. He's very animated, and when you carry a squasher like that, everybody up off the bench for Leigh.
Cathell will try to answer. Oh, just takes that head pin right off. The 2 and the 4. Now a big double opportunity for Justin Reiniger. Here's their leader, averages 174. Reiniger 3rd in the state singles competition. Crosses over. Leaves the 6-10. Now Brandon Bayer. Top scorer for the Dodge Pirates. Right up the boards, great shot. So Brandon Bayer trying to get him back into it. Good cover. So important as you get late in these matches to convert your spare late in the match in terms of 5th game, 5th and deciding game. Back up on the right-hand lane for the Leigh Panthers, Dustin Marty. Get up the hill. Leaves the 1-2. So Leigh out of the gate quickly with the lead. They're still clean through 2, and another open for Dodge. And boy, those open frames really having an impact on the Pirates.
Spare here, Larry, and that give Leigh almost a 30-pin lead. Shooting at the 1 and the 2, fairly simple. You want to just about, well, you'll use your strike targeting, but you'll move your feet a couple boards to the right to just give yourself a better angle at the 1 and the 3. Really no reason to worry about chopping it off. Big deep breath there by Dustin Marty. A spare here is just as important as a strike. Ball's got a hook. Oh. You can just tell when it came off his hand. It hung on his hand a little bit and slid. Gives his teammate Drew Kozik a pat on the back saying, come on, hold me up. 1, 2, 4, and boy, just everybody's lost on these spares. And no other way to say it, Larry, but you got to go home and practice those.
Here's Drew Kozik, right through the middle. Good break.
Well, at least they're going to make it exciting here for the 5th game.
That's right.
Snoozers.
Here's Philip Cathell. Cathell crosses over and leaves the 3-pin. Almost done now with 5 frames, and Leigh has the lead. Spare here would make it more than 20. And that time he got it. Good cover. So nice work by Drew Kozik.
Some better shot there for the spare.
And Phil Cathell as well. So here's Ryan Kump for Leigh. Goes cross and leaves that 3-10. Tough spare to convert. Try to squeeze that ball in between the 3 and the 10. Wants to hit the 3 pin on the right-hand side and take the ball into the 10 pin.
Needs to go cross lane. Not a tremendously difficult spare. Looks very good. That's how to do it, Larry.
Great shot by Ryan Kump.
Everybody off the bench for Leigh now. They know that they've got Dodge up against the wall.
25-pin lead by the Leigh Panthers. They came out of the block shooting 133-154. They were down 2 games to none, and now they've come back with back-to-back games and back-to-back wins, and they're here halfway through the final game with the lead. Once again, just not getting much reaction, playing right up the second arrow.
Dodge has got to answer the bell here, and they got to come back with a strike sometime here, and just.
There's Brandon Byer. Byer crosses over, leaves that 6 pin. So Justin Reiniger now with a tough conversion here.
On the washout.
Good effort, just couldn't send that head pin into the 10. So a bit of an open door now for the Dodge Pirates.
Spare here puts him back up within 20.
Big shot by Byer. And a good one. So Byer with the spare, and he'll still get one more opportunity to step up for the Dodge Pirates with the match on the line. That closed the gap to 12 pins. Leigh still in the lead. And the shot and the strike by Dustin Marty. Couple of big shots by the sophomore Marty.
That's great to see. Just great excitement.
Crosses over. Can't, an 8-pin wobble, and you see it. Thought maybe it would come forward into the 2,
Just
3.
not getting any breaks, Larry. Big shot here, a double would really put the dagger in the heart, but can't get the head pin.
Still a 13-pin lead, though, for Leigh.
I think they can smell it, Larry. They're getting close. And
Boy,
spare, yeah, big time spare.
Here. Nope. Slides. Just barely hits that 3-pin. Can't get it back into the 9. So
another big time spare coming up here. Gets up there quick. Didn't take long to think about it. It's got to get the ball back over to the right. And
doesn't quite get them all. That leaves the door open just a bit for Dodge, although they're going to have to string something together here.
they need a strike, Larry. They're down by 22. They're down by 32, actually. A strike here will cut it to 12. Nope.
So leaves the 5-pin. They mark here, and they can cut it to 12. 5-pin as well. 5-pin generally an indication your ball not driving hard enough through the pocket.
Well, most of these boys use a lot of speed, and that's going to cut down on that drive. The good thing about speed is that usually accuracy helps you out. Boy, Dodge just shot themselves in the foot with the errors today. Here's the bottom line, Larry. He picks this spare up, and they just about can put their hands on that trophy. They would have to fall completely apart in the 9th and 10th frame, and Dodge would have to double to have any chance. So I think Leigh smells it right here. Potential 157 for Leigh. Dodge would have to at least double. That's going to
that about does it.
Yeah.
Well, when Dodge travels home and takes a look, they will look at that score sheet and see 5 errors in this 5th and deciding game. 7-1 in the first, 7 whiff in the 3rd and 4th frames, 8-1 in the 7th, 9 whiff in the 8th. This split obviously tough to convert in the 9th, so you don't consider that an error, but 5 other errors in the 5th and deciding game by Dodge, and they come out of the gate going 205, 182, and they back it up with a pair of 130s, and here they punch out the best they can do is 131, and all Leigh will have to do is keep it between the gutter to take home a state championship. And that'll do it. So that does it. And the Leigh Panthers come from behind to take the state championship in boys Class D. What a rebound by Leigh. That's enough.
So Jim and Marilyn Lund sitting right there on the railing, rooting on their Leigh Panthers.
Brandon Byer closes it out with a strike and a nice shot by Byer, the junior. And Dodge's bid for back-to-back state championships will come up one game short. They took a 2-0 lead, but the Leigh Panthers and Justin Reiniger with the shot here to close it out. And Leigh is your state champ in Class D.
That's great to see, Larry. Look at that.
So congratulations to the Leigh Panthers, the Class D state champs. When we come back, we'll hear from the champs. We'll be back at Sun Valley Lanes in just a minute. Welcome back to Sun Valley Lanes in Lincoln, Nebraska. Your Class D boys state champs, the Leigh Panthers. And for a conversation with the champs, let's go to Steve Simpak.
Thanks, Larry. We are here with Coach Chris Kirkwhite and Ryan Kump. Ryan, you were here as a freshman, I do believe?
Yep.
What's the difference in coming back now, and you were the emotional leader of this team. Every time you struck, you gave it the big old fist pump. Any difference, obviously, other than winning?
Being a senior, you've been here once. I mean, it's pretty much you get the jitters every time, but I just try to do what I can for the team. That's about it.
Well, that's great. Coach, congratulations. What's it feel like to come back from being down 2-0? What'd you say to your team to rally them?
Just basically told them that they can bowl how they can bowl. Just do what they can do. Basically, every day in practice and stuff, they do the same things. They've come back from adversity through the whole day yesterday, where they came back, had a 5-game match there over Humphrey St. Francis, Lindsay Holy Family to actually get here. And I mean, they're good kids, young bowlers. They listen well, they adapt well, and they really try to get the game won. So.
Well, that's great. Well, congratulations to the Leigh Panthers, your state champions for Class D boys. Back to you, Larry.
Thanks very much, Steve. An excited group of young men there, and for good reason. They are your state champs. The state runner-up will be the Dodge Pirates. And for the introductions, let's go to our public address announcer.
Another round of applause for all the participants in today's state championship match. And now for the trophy and medal presentation. First, the 2010 boys Class D state runner-up Dodge Pirates. Assistant coach Stephen Kemp and head coach Stephen Cathall. Brandon Baer. Philip Cathall. Taylor Bryan. Austin Widhelm. Dalton Hashberger. And Brian Vidvarka. Congratulations on a great season, and here's your runner-up trophy. And now for your boys Class D 2010 state champion Leigh Panthers. Assistant coach Travis Kump and head coach Chris Kirkwhite. Ryan Kump. Justin Reininger. Drew Kozik. Dustin Marty. And Trevor Elgin. Congratulations, gentlemen, and here is your 2010 Nebraska State Championship trophy.
So John Lucido, the commissioner of the Nebraska High School Bowling Federation, presenting the trophy to the champs in Class D, the Leigh Panthers, coming from down 2-0 to win it 3-2. They're your Class D state champs. When we come back, the Class B state title is on the line. It's a rematch from last year. The Pius 10 Thunderbolts, Hastings Tigers. I won't be here. We'll see you when we come back.